Dr. Arif Bimji of the Association for Genital Integrity. You're Muslim. What are the implications for this as far as you're concerned?
Well, I see really the role of a good Muslim to, first of all, to be a good Muslim and to serve and not to harm. And so as a practicing Muslim, I don't see circumcision either being for or against, being a sign of the religion, a sign of what I'm going to do, what my children are going to do.
How's your community responding to this?
Well, the community has responded a bit negatively because they are very much in tune with the ritual of being a Muslim, whereas I'm more in tune with being a Muslim for the sake of being a Muslim. What I would say to you, and really where I become a bit more passionate about this issue, is that if in Canada we have forbidden any form of female mutilation to occur, and that includes the most minor forms, which are simply making a mark or making a neck, why are we reluctant to allow men, and in fact young boys, the same rights, and to prevent them from being altered without their consent in an irreversible way? I think that's really where our position as the association really comes from, is that we see an inequity in the way that males and females are being treated. We want to see no genital mutilation, whether it is male or female, occur. People who choose to have a covenant with God, to mark themselves in whichever way they desire, can certainly do so when they reach an age where they can understand the consequences of doing that. I think it's important to realize that any medical procedure, any surgical procedure has a risk. In fact, last year there was a death from circumcision in BC. So it's not an innocuous procedure. It is something that has to be taken seriously. I don't think we're going to drive anything underground until such time that, you know, it is forbidden, and at the present time it's not forbidden. I think what we do know is that for the last 25 years the Canadian Paediatric Society has been saying is circumcision is not a medically necessary procedure. It hasn't gone away. Breast augmentation is not a medically necessary procedure. People still choose to have it done. I think
those are adults, though.
Those are adults. And I think that's really what we need to address, is that we are performing at the present time by doing circumcision, because we know it's not medically necessary in the vast majority of cases, an irreversible surgical procedure with tangible, measurable complication rates on somebody that is not consenting to it. I think that's the human rights issue, and I think we should protect human rights just as we should protect religious rights. But we've already curtailed, in many cases, religious rights. For example, when a child from a background of Jehovah's Witness needs a blood transfusion, the state takes the child away, gives the child the blood transfusion, so that the child has the right to life, the child has the right to security of the person. Why should it be any different when any other type of medical procedure that isn't required? I don't see a big difference there. We really should be protecting children of all faiths, and certainly this would be one way in which we would be protecting children from many, many faiths.
So some people will argue that there are a lot of decisions that we as parents and society make that impact powerfully on the life of that child that may not be a medical procedure. So where are we going to stop? Where are we going to stop in saying that we can impinge upon the rights of parents to make certain decisions? And I'm not saying that we ought or ought not to, but it's a difficult situation. It's not that clear cut that, you know, because we say that it's a medical procedure that's not required, we should therefore impinge upon the right of parents to make the decision because the child is non-consenting. Children are non-consenting until they're much, much older, and we make lots of decisions for them.
We certainly do, but, you know, there's very few parents that are making decisions on irreversible surgery on the basis of their desires as opposed to what the basis is for the child. So I think that's the difference in this particular case. It's irreversible, it has a tangible complication rate, it's not medically required. There are many decisions, there are many things in society where we do limit the rights of parents. If we didn't, we wouldn't need a children's aid society. I think we have to base this in fact. We have to say this particular procedure is being done on males. We have already forbidden a comparable, somewhat similar procedure on females, granted that certain forms of female genital mutilation are much harsher, are much greater, do much greater damage than a circumcision does. But why are we making the differentiation here? We've outlawed all forms of female genital mutilation. We haven't done that for males. There is an inequity.